Welcome back to A Lawyer's Insights from Federal Prison, Day 3. Today I want to talk to you about walking through shame and finding self-compassion. This is a really hard topic. Shame, it almost drapes over you like heavy fog. And you don't even sometimes, it's hard for us to acknowledge that we're feeling shame, that we're, in my case, walking through shame. And I remember, even in the surrender process, which I've talked in the last two videos about, how much shame I felt saying goodbye to my parents, to my children. And what was going on through my head is like, what are people going to think about me? Will people come visit me? Will they still be my friends? Like all of that, right? We convince ourselves that people are going to pass judgment on us, when honestly what's happening is we're passing judgment on ourselves and projecting it on others. I know that's what I was doing. One of the biggest lessons I had was while I was going through sort of the sentencing phase, before I got sentenced, I made a very intentional decision to call about 200 people in my life that I had known from like childhood all the way to, present day. And one by one, I picked up the phone and called people and told them what I did and asked for help. And I could only do like 4 calls a day, but I was so convinced. Well, I was only doing 4 calls a day because I was so emotional. I was crying on every call. But, I was so convinced that before I made these calls that every single person was going to hang up on me, that I had disgraced myself, that they were going to shun me and would not want anything to do with me. And instead what happened was I learned that people are very forgiving of our humanity if we give them the chance to be that way, to honor us with that. One of my friends said, "You stood naked and exposed for the entire world to judge you." And we did. And you taught us something in that transparency and authenticity. And from those calls, the judge got 182 letters of support for me. And it was like I got eulogized before I died. And that process of taking accountability and standing and walking through shame was such a powerful lesson for me, that I'm a flawed human and that's okay. And I think oftentimes we are overcome by shame because we kind of want to hide our mistakes. We want to hide from, maybe that we did something wrong or we hurt somebody. And in fact, when we can walk through shame and own it, that is when the healing starts. And for me, it started with me really forgiving myself, which looked like me doing a lot of walking and praying and running, talking to a lot of friends, singing hymns and mantras, and doing worship ceremonies with my family, and surrounding myself with loved ones, until I got to the point where I realized I'm imperfect and that's okay. And I could look at myself in the mirror and say, I forgive you. And that ability to be able to walk through shame, and Brene Brown says, right, when we walk through shame, we find our power. And one of the first books I read in prison was The Gifts of Imperfection, which was honestly a gift, no pun intended, to me, to be able to recognize that here I am in prison, hoping that nobody can see me, feeling really much in shame, ashamed of it. And yet the beauty was to recognize that I'm imperfect and that's okay. And when we find the ability to forgive ourselves, we find compassion, self-compassion. It's so easy for us to give others our compassion, right? Like at work, at home, we want to take care of others and be compassionate, but yet we're so hard on ourselves. We hold ourselves to such high standards, and we don't want to mess up, and we're scared to innovate, let's say, because what if we make the wrong choice, or what if it doesn't go the right way, or growth is really found when we can actually find that self-compassion to try the things that are scary. So I really found that, and walking through shame for me has been a journey. I will say that I still feel like every single day I go through this, mental exercise where I rise through it and I remind myself that I'm an imperfect human and that's okay. And I made some bad decisions, but that does not define me, but it refines me. And it has helped me evolve. So find the courage to walk through shame, whatever it is that you're holding on to. Be vulnerable, find your power, forgive yourself, be compassionate with yourself. Thanks a lot. If you're enjoying these, please share, subscribe, tell your friends. Take care. Thanks.